Thank you and good luck. First affirmative constructive speech, 4 minutes.
Honorable judges, imagine you're taking the MRT. All the party seats are occupied. However, you have tendinitis, you have to sit down. However, people are not yielding their seats because you have tendinitis, and tendinitis is an invisible disability. That's why we resolved that the Taiwanese government should abolish the use of priority seats on public transportation. First, I'd like to start off with the definitions. Taiwanese government, the government of the Republic of China, abolished to end the observance or effect of priority seats are seats next to the exits for mentally disabled, for the weak, the old, the pregnant, and for the children. This is according to the Ministry of Education. We have found the affirmative side have found the following harms of the status quo. First harm, wasted space. Space is wasted because people will be apprehensive about sitting in priority seats for fear of criticism, or having to give up their seats later when someone who does need it arrives on the transportation. This is according to the head of Taichung City Government Transportation Bureau's Transportation Management Section, according to Chen. And the second harm of the status quo is that the priority seats harms the individuals asking for seats. By giving up a seat for the elders automatically, you're essentially announcing that they are old. This is according to Professor Casey Bazil. And the third harm of the status quo is unnecessary confrontations. People are often scared to sit on priority seats because people ask them questions or show disapproval by staring. This is according to the Liberty Times, and we have cases of both elders and young people having problems with confrontation with priority seats. Now, to the significance of the problem. 62% of the population refuse to take the priority seats on normal occasions when they're empty. And and this is according to the largest Taiwanese online survey pollster. This is our significance. And finally, to our plan. The legislative branch will pass the Public Transportation Assistance Act, which would first eliminate priority seats by taking down signs that determine which are or were priority seats. Second, implement smart seats, which are unlike priority seats. These smart seats fold away, so more standing room is available when they are not in use. When the card flashes against the reader located above the chair, the seat is released and the person can take the seat. Third, give eligible and needy people cards for the smart seats automatically. The Ministry of Health and Welfare will send people a card once they are eligible, such as elders. And for those who are hurt or sick for a short period of time, it is up to the doctor's discretion to give them the card. Fourth, we will create a public service announcements to raise the awareness of the smart seats. My second speaker will further elaborate on the plan as a whole. Okay, so our enforcement is the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Transportation, and our funding is $8 billion. My second speaker will further elaborate on the breakdown of our funding. Our working model is, we have multiple working models that prove that this new system we are suggesting will work. In Singapore, they have a scanner system that only releases the objects that is desired by the user, but also records the data to figure out the demand of the product. And in London, they have the same folded seats that we are suggesting. And in a standard plane, they have jump seats, which also reassembles the seats we are suggesting. To our solvency. The folded seats solve problems of wasted space and also problems of people not giving up seats. The disability card okay. To our entire block is attitudinal. Our advantages are first, greater awareness of invisible disabilities, and second, no more uncertainty, and third, self-enforced system. Okay, I now stand ready for cross-examination.
cross its inverse affirmative. 2 minutes.
Alright, so start with the question. So you claim that priority seats, by asking the seats to be arguing the individual asking, doesn't the asking for seats without the priority seats have to do the same thing?
They won't do this.
So you're implying that in case where there are no priority seats but no seats left, they still won't ask.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, in the case where there are no priority seats, because seats are lost, but again there are no seats, doesn't the asking for the seats do sort of like?
Our plan does not need to ask for seats. Our plan is that the people will get the card, as I stated in my plan, and they'll flash it in front of the scanner in front of the seat, and this above the seat, and the seat will sit down. And then the person who needs it takes the seat.
Yes, thank you. So how will people with temporary needs who happen to actually have needs upon boarding actually acquire these cards?
As I stated, who needs people? My secretary will further elaborate on this. However, to answer your question, the person can get the cards from the hospitals, and since if they really need one, they will have to go to, or if it's serious, they would go to the hospital to check out.
The question is if apparently what if somebody does not have a card at the moment or is actually has a panic condition?
We are only talking about the medical.
So you can have to take consideration. Okay.
My secretary will further elaborate.
Is the evidence given from Professor Casey from the quote or more step?
Which?
I believe it was a quote from Professor Casey.
Head of Taiwan.
Is that a quote?
That is a quote.
First negative constructed speech. 4 minutes.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, good morning. To begin with, I'm going to give you some refutation. First, the affirmative plan is to let people to show their cards, not ask for these. They have the disability cards solution to the status quo. But they didn't answer that if someone got certain injury, temporary injury in his way to the bus stop or MRT, and now he can because he doesn't have a car, then he can receive a seat, right? And second, they just mentioned we don't know it's an evidence or just a quote from Professor Casey. We don't know it's this evidence is concrete or not. It's just a quote from somebody. So, to sum up, we the narrative believes that the Taiwanese government should keep the priority seats on public transportation so as to protect the rights of those who are disabled, pregnant, and with foreign standing. Moreover, introducing priority seats will encourage individuals to exercise their social responsibility for those in need. Here are our contentions. First, the establishment of priority seat is the right of minority hosts, protected by the law, Article 53 of People with Disability Right Protection Act, which aims to secure their equal opportunity to fairly participate in social activities. Setting priority seats can help with the barrier-free environment, which makes those with disability able to use public transportation with as much ease as healthy citizens. Second, the affirmative should put a critical psychological phenomenon into consideration, the bystander effect. In this case, passengers are the bystanders. The effect indicates that the greater the number of bystanders, the less likely it is that any of them will help. Take the Yokohama subway in Japan, for example. In 2003, it strove to make every seat a priority seat. However, after 5 years of implementing this policy, only 4.9% of all passengers believe they often saw seats being yielded to those in need. It's a survey from its City Transportation Bureau. It is because everybody now is obliged to yield their seat. one is more likely to think that another will do the job, which leads to lower willingness to give seats. To solve the problems in the status quo the affirmative just proposed, we acknowledge the current priority seats often misleads people into thinking that the priority seats are for the four particular groups. To solve the issue that people with unseen disability are afraid of sitting on priority seats, we propose to add an icon which symbolizes the person with unseen disability onto the original sign. This will deliver a clear message that people with unseen disability can also use priority seats. Moreover, to improve the usage efficiency of priority seats. First, through education and promotion program, we will promote the perception that everybody can use priority seats if they are in need. And based on the result of the survey, we will increase the ratio of priority seats from 1/5 to 1/3 on the MRT. Currently, since the priority seats are so rare that people recognize them as exclusive seats. With our plan, people will be willing to sit on the priority seats, which makes if they are in need. Thank you. I now stand ready for cross-examination.
First affirmative, cross exam, first negative. 2 minutes.
Thank you. Is the debater proposing a counterpart?
You mean our counterpart?
Are you proposing a counterpart?
Yes.
Yes.
To solve the problems in the status quo you just mentioned.
All right. So what is your funding for your counterpart?
You mean the advertisement part?
Yeah. What is the exact funding?
Well, our government actually says some reserve
Do
place.
you have a specific number?
No, it's free in the TV
Okay,
around the
okay. So
MRT.
who is enforcing your counterpart? Which government entity is enforcing your counterpart?
The Bureau of Transportation and also the.
Okay, so what's your working model of your counterpart? The working model, like what are you basing your counterpart on?
Everybody.
So
It's a promotion to promote the perception.
Okay. All right. Do you have any evidence saying that your counterpart will work in Taiwan on public transportation?
The counter plan we just brought up is the ongoing counter plan, and we will emphasize the volume or increase the volume and frequency of
Do you have any evidence saying that it will work?
Yes, we have some related evidence.
Okay. How is your plan going to solve the problem of invisible disabilities as well as the self-esteem of elders proposed by our arms?
You mean the elderly thing that?
What's your solvency? How is your counterpart going to solve the issues, the harms?
We will add a fifth icon which symbolizes a person with disability, and this clearly shows that they can sit on cars. Thank you.
Second affirmative, constructive speech. 4 minutes.
Good morning. Honorable Judge George Douglas and Mr. CPS. Today, Chair Senator Slide here to refute what I've said and also strengthen my case. So, dear Judge, I want to remind the fact that in order for the opposition to propose a counterplan, number one, it must be topical to the resolution at hand, meaning that it must abolish the use of priority seats on public transportation. On this basis alone, that felt on that very principle, their counterplan is not going to abolish the priority seats. In fact, they're actually increasing the use of priority seats. So, on that basis alone, their counterplan should not even be considered at all. Also, another factor of requirements is that they must be non-exclusive to the status quo. As such, they cannot be implemented on the same time that our plan is implemented. And as such, also on that basis, their counterplan should be considered. So, also, since seeing that they have proposed a counterplan, also assume that they accept our harms, as such is the rule under the policy debate. So seeing as they accept our harms, all three of our harms are now accepted, and then I'll now move on to the, and seeing as they do not fulfill the most basic principle of the counter plan, we could just throw out their entire counter plan. So moving on to the refutation of their attack on our plan. So they say that party seats, the virtual party seats, is that they provide equality. However, every single time the seats drop down, they're actually in fact providing even more equality than the pleb actually does. Every single time the seat drops down, the government is showing that they care about these groups that they're trying to protect. And that, as such, our plan is much superior than theirs. Well, so I'm not going to explain our plan. So first, imagine you are pregnant. If you're pregnant, the Ministry of Health then send you a card through the mail, and you get this card. Then the next time you go take the train, you can flash this card against a scanner on top of these seats, and the seats will drop down. And as such, under our plan, you'll always be able to guarantee the seat. And as such, there's many advantages as resultant of our plan. So first of all, what are our advantages? Our advantages are that there's a greater awareness of people's disabilities. Under the status quo, if you have tendinitis or if you have like lung cancer, other people aren't able to see that you have these disabilities. And as such, they aren't being recognized. If you have cancer, people aren't going to give their seats because they cannot see that you have cancer. And this is a crucial advantage that the opposition so far failed to address. Second advantage is that there's also no more uncertainty. A study by the University of College London shows that people prefer certainty to uncertainty even when the results of uncertainty is worse off than what they would have gotten. But under our plan, people will be certain that they have what a seat to get because it is mechanically enforced by the system. Our third advantage is that also that our system is self-enforced, and as such it doesn't require the train conductors to enforce the system. Since our plan is mechanically enforced by these seats, when you go up and take these seats, you'll know for a fact that you have these seats to take. And as such, these are the many advantages our plan provides. So, here judge, their plan is like a train. But not only is this stopped at a wrong station, it has one over a person. And who is this person? This person is the elderly, the people, the needy people that they so claim that they are trying to protect, however that absolutely fails to address under their counter plan. And that not only that, their counter plan also fails on the most basic principle and does not even adhere to the topic that we are debating here, the resolution that we're debating here today. And as such, please vote for the affirmative. And also for the definition.
First negative cross-exam, second affirmative. 2 minutes.
Good morning. First, could you show us the budget for the disability card?
Okay,
The
so
evidence.
okay, thank you for asking. So our funding is 8 billion. This is a surplus from the part. Okay, so our funding is 8 billion. This is a surplus of the Ministry of Transportation's funding. So our cards will cost a very cheap price. The cards will cost approximately 40,000 NTD, seeing as one card is only $3 NTD. Also, every seat is $650 US. Now this comes to
Thank you. Does it come from our people's tax?
No, it's a surplus of the current revenue. So there's actually in fact a surplus, and that means a surplus to our tax.
And second, do you agree that in the status quo, the practices make discrimination for the people sit on it? Do you agree that in the status quo, practices bring up discrimination for the people sit on it?
Yes, I do.
So, do you agree that in the status quo we have priority parking lot? Do you agree that it's also a discrimination?
No, I don't.
Thank you. And don't you think that a person showing disability card will bring discrimination on somebody's?
Well, I don't.
Okay, thank you. And about do you believe that our country can reach the same goal that everybody can sit on the priority seat and don't fail?
So in fact, your plan actually makes the problem worse off.
Thank you. Do you believe that the government should make public policy from everybody's view, including the most vulnerable members in our society?
Yes.
So is your plan based on the minority interest?
There's the interest of society as a whole. It fulfills the utilitarian aspect that the government should achieve.
So you care, the performance is like care about the whole interest of the society.
As should any government.
Thank you.
Second negative constructive speech. 4 minutes.
judges in the second negative constructive start off by explaining why the program should not be voted for, moving on to extend by a negative case in terms of education, and explaining how our education plan should be working better than theirs, therefore why they should be voted for. Now, so starting off, we would like to question how the act plan has a probability of solving the problems they brought up. For an act plan, no matter what, we'll always have a chance of somebody not yielding seats. So we can't really justify why it is necessary for people to totally abolish these priority seats. But this actually sort of links to the fact that the defendant have a solvency for not just because the plan that they bring up is not going to guarantee somebody's going to see, but at the same time it actually goes back to marking people as well, because once you pull down the seats, you sit down, you're also indicated as somebody who seems to be what they call discriminated, and which is a problem they bring up and apparently they can't solve. We would also like to notify judges that what the act plan is actually a drastic change within the current status quo compared to ours, which is a minor repair. So in time frame wise, it's actually going to take longer and probably cost more money to bring up the evidence if the act actually wants it. And moving on. The act is also guaranteed to do damage to the rights of passengers because the abolishment of these seats, the passengers who need these seats will not be required them, and it will also endanger the safety of these riders who actually need the seat or have some kind of disability. We would also like to question their card system, as they have not really been able to respond to the temporary conditions that just show up. For example, I believe the first negative constructive, and I have both been asked questions and have been answered about how if a woman is on a period or if a mother and children, which doesn't seem to mention a medical condition, will be able to acquire cards and actually get these seats, because apparently even if they don't, and the act is not being able to answer that. So yes. Now, moving on, we would like to extend on our education plan. So, the NEG believes that we should be increasing the intensity and the impression that the sort of demonstrations, for example, the advertisements and the teaching within civic textbooks make, because we believe that's why people haven't given seats enough. But we aim to change that. So, for example, we would like to increase the volume and as well as the amount of times the advertisements are being played, so it actually gets in people's mind while they're watching public and taking public transportation. We would also like to increase the ratio of the context within these civic textbooks, which actually gets the idea to the students. And our moral is that we believe the people who need these seats will actually go ahead and take them upon boarding, but if they actually gain visual on somebody, obviously disabled, or is asked for a seat from somebody in case they have some kind of internal disability, they will go to a seat. And this, along with our plan that we would change icon for people to with internal disabilities, should be able to justify that, teach people that it is their right to take the seat. And they shouldn't have much of self-esteem to actually take it. It's like taking a normal seat, just that apparently that's a condition, and they would like to take that seat. And this is important because of John Rawls' social justice theory, in which each person possesses an inviolability found in injustice that even the welfare of society as a whole can take away. So this is apparently the negative plan enforces that, and so for these reasons, we urge you to vote for the negative. Now I stand ready for cross-examination.
Second affirmative, cross-exam, second negative. 2 minutes.
Good morning. So what is your funding for your current plan?
Yeah, it's about 4.5.
Can you give me a breakdown of your funding? Like how many seats are you planning to purchase? How many additional seats are you planning to purchase in the plan?
We brought that up. It was like one give me up, like 25, 30%, 1.5, 1.4.
So you have exact number?
The exact number.
No, okay. Do you have exact number?
No.
Okay, no, thank you. So do you have any advantages to your counter plan?
Excuse me?
Do you have any advantages to your counter plan?
Which part?
Your plan. Do you have any advantages to your counter plan?
Oh, you mean like? Yeah. Well, for one thing, we're guaranteeing that we're guaranteeing to these people who need seats that there's not much, So self-esteem, probably
Yeah,
doesn't know
yeah, that's what that.
I think it's pretty reasonable. I mean, like, we have the icon of painted.
Okay, thank you. So what is your funding? What's your administrative funding for the cost of your party seats?
I think we can.
Do you have a more detailed breakdown of your funding?
No.
Okay, so what is your
Actually, we do. We should.
Okay,
It's on. It's on the.
what's your estimate for solvency? How would this solve our harms that you have accepted?
Oh, well, you're referring to.
How would your plan solve the harms that you have proposed?
For one, you mean like, for example, the same as well as social pressure? Well, I think like at the end of my speech, you're trying to indicate that.
Do you have any answers for that?
Well, I'm trying to like, I mean, it's part of the plan, so, you know,
So
and I think it's a big
no
logic.
evidence. Do you have any evidence besides logic? No, okay. So do you have any working model? That is, do you have a working model shows that this will in fact work and actually improve the situation? A working model?
I mean, ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have evidence for your working model?
Yeah, okay, so,
Okay.
Preparation period for rebuttal session, 5 minutes.
Excuse me, may I ask the judges if the rest of the debaters are allowed to pass on notes to the debater on the stage? Because the affirmative kept doing so, which is quite disturbing to the negative.
Lawyers, it's generally accepted practice in policy debate.
If that's the case, then we will modify and invite to the just we will not pass notes.
Third negative rebuttal, 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we, the negative, have clearly won this debate. Now I'm going to tell you why. First of all, the affirmative appears not to understand the format of Cicero. What we, the negative, have done is not against the rules. What we have done is we have created a minor repair, which is that we admit that there are some flaws towards the system, which our plan will address, but we see no inherent need to abolish the entire system just because there are some tiny flaws with the way it's working. And then I'm going to explain why their harms are obsolete and why their plan doesn't work to protect all the minorities and why our plan actually does solve all the harms that they proposed. Right now, harms. Now, the affirmative has mentioned 3 main harms. They say that there is wasted space on the MRT. Yes, we agree that there is some wasted space. We don't understand the need to abolish all the seats in the car except for people who have the beeping cards. We don't think that the Taipei metro system or the metro systems in Kaohsiung or the bus systems are as crowded as that, and they have given us no evidence that we have the same amount of crowded levels that require that kind of policy, like in London and in Singapore. We have different public transportation systems. We don't see the need to abolish them to the same level as they have. Second of all, they talk about people who are afraid of being seen as old or infirm when they sit down. First of all, they have no concrete evidence that this is a persistent trend that people are afraid of. The only evidence they brought up was a random quote by a professor, which we don't think comes from a legitimate study. Second of all, their plan itself has no solvency towards that issue. Because, think about it, if you sit down in a seat in their world, it means that you have a seating card. It means that you have need to be there. It means that you are either old or you have a medical condition. People are still going to look at you sitting in that seat and think, oh, you have a problem. So that kind of discrimination is not mutually exclusive. It exists in both worlds. Whereas in our plan, we actually try to promote this idea that, yes, it is okay to need seats. It is okay to sit down when you need it, and we feel like these people are have better assistance of their own needs. Third of all, we say that when people need seats, when they admit to the government, yes, we would like more rights, we would like more substantial equality, they do admit to themselves, they do take on this perception. Much like priority parking spots, if you want a priority parking spot, then you need to have a license for that. And we think that when people voluntarily sit down, then they take that responsibility on themselves. Now here are some groups of people that are not protected under the affirmative plan. Parents of small children, women who have cramps on that particular day and have not been able to go to the hospital yet, people with sudden headaches or injuries that they have not gone to the doctor for. We say that the affirmative plan is not able to take on these kinds of people who do have the needs for it and who do actually need the seats. And second of all, they do have, we also think that the affirmative does not understand the nature of priority seats and that they work for all temporary conditions. Whereas the negative plan, we do solve the problems they propose. Waste of space. Right now, people are unwilling to sit down in priority seats because they think they're rare and exclusive and meant only for those groups. When we expand these seats, when we increase the number of these seats, it becomes less rare, and people are more likely to sit down on it when they need to, with the knowledge that if somebody else comes along that needs it more, I can stand up, but because there are more seats, then I don't have to worry about taking up space. We also take care of unseen disabilities through our education program and through our unseen disability icon. So yes, we do believe that we have solved all the problems and we have solved it better than the other side. Thank you.
Third affirmative rebuttal, 3 minutes.
Welcome aboard, honorable judges, fellow debaters, and esteemed guests. We on the affirmative side would like to take you on a ride in the right direction. Now, to start off with a few refutations of the negative side. Now, the negative side has came up with a counter plan, but we believe that they do not solve our harms because their plan is very vague. Now, they have no funding, which even when handed to us, they have used the funding that is already used for the Taipei MRT system, which is only for the Taipei MRT. That does not include the rest of Taiwan and the rest of the public transportation systems. Now, moving on, they also have no advantages for their plan and have not attacked our advantages either. Now, with their arguments, they have also not have any evidence to support them. And so we assume that unless they show us their evidence cards and that we can prove that it's true, we believe that it is not, or that it has not been proven to us. Now, moving on, they have also brought up this problem of temporary conditions. On the affirmative side, we believe that if someone is not feeling well enough, that they may go to the hospital and that they would not be going on a train ride to who knows where. Now, we believe on our side that with our plan, we are able to further improve upon Taiwan society. by creating these smart seats, they automatically allow people to take a seat, but also by distributing these temporary disability cards so that we show that they really do need those seats. With our system, there is no way for others to abuse these seats, because without this temporary disability card, you are not able to get these seats. So this way, you cannot abuse the privileges. Now further on, our public service announcement